Hello, dear story lovers. At the amount of 1,000 subscribers, I will post a huge series of special stories for you. Subscribe now. Dr. Alara Miles was no stranger to alien worlds. A celebrated medic and xenobiologist, she had spent much of her career charting the complexities of extraterrestrial biology and bridging the gaps between human science and alien ecosystems. Yet, nothing could have prepared her for the discovery that awaited her deep within the uncharted jungles of Thessalia 4. The planet was a verdant marvel, its vast landscapes filled with bioluminescent flora and towering trees that seemed to hum with an energy of their own. Alara was stationed here as part of the Interstellar Medical Alliance, a coalition of human and alien medics tasked with fostering health and goodwill among newly allied civilizations. Her primary mission was to assist the native Yilgrek, an ancient and enigmatic species known for their towering, insect-like forms and deep spiritual ties to the planet's ecosystem. On this particular day, Alara had been exploring the dense jungle with her Yilgrek guide, Zandar. Towering over her with his segmented, glistening exoskeleton, Zandar was a young and curious member of his species, one who had grown fascinated by human technology and science. Together, they ventured into a secluded region of the jungle known as the Whispering Valleys, an area steeped in Yilgrek legend and rarely visited. Alara, Zandar began, his multitonal voice carrying an edge of unease. Few Yilgrek tread here. The elders say this valley is sacred. The guardian of our world once dwelled here, but we have not seen it in generations. Alara's curiosity was piqued. She had read about the mythical HFY in the Yilgrek archives, a colossal, mammoth-like creature said to have shaped Thessalia IV's ecosystem with its immense power. Most humans dismissed it as a legend, but Alara had long suspected there was truth to the tale. If the HFY existed, its biology could hold keys to understanding the planet's unique environment. As they descended into the mist-shrouded valley, Alara's scanner beeped softly, indicating the presence of a massive life form nearby. Her pulse quickened. The thick fog parted, and there it was. The HFY lay in a shallow hollow, its immense body partially obscured by bioluminescent vines. Its azure fur shimmered faintly in the dim light, and its two tentacle-like trunks draped limply over its massive tusks. Despite its majestic appearance, the creature's distress was evident. It let out a low, mournful sound that reverberated through the valley, its enormous frame quivering with each labored breath. Alara's eyes were drawn to one of its hind legs, which was swollen and discolored. Even from a distance, she could see the infection spreading from a deep abscess. Her heart sank. "It's alive," Alara whispered, her voice trembling with awe. "And it's suffering." Zandar clicked his mandibles nervously. "It is not our way to interfere," he said hesitantly. "The elders believe the HFY must endure. It is nature's will." Alara crouched closer, her mid-scanner now fully active. The data on her screen painted a dire picture: advanced necrosis, systemic infection, and dangerously high levels of stress hormones. The creature wouldn't survive much longer without intervention. "I understand your traditions, Zandar," she said, keeping her voice calm. "But this isn't just nature. This is neglect. That abscess didn't form overnight. This creature has been in pain for years, maybe centuries." Zandar hesitated, his antennae twitching as he processed her words. "You believe you can save it?" he asked, his tone a mix of skepticism and hope. Alara straightened, her resolve hardening. "If we act quickly, I believe I can. But I'll need your help and the cooperation of your people." Zandar's eyes glimmered faintly in the dim light, a sign of internal conflict. After a long pause, he nodded. "I will take you to the elders. They must hear your case." As they made their way back to the Yilgrek settlement, Alara couldn't help but feel the weight of the challenge ahead. Convincing the elders to break with centuries of tradition would be no small feat, but as she glanced back at the HFY, its immense form barely visible through the fog, she knew she couldn't abandon it. This was more than a medical mission now, it was a test of compassion, courage, and the power of bridging cultural divides to do what was right. Elara sat cross-legged in the dimly lit hall of the Yilbrick Council chamber, a circular space carved from living stone. Bioluminescent plants adorned the walls, their gentle glow casting flickering shadows on the faces of the Yilbrick elders seated in a semicircle before her. The air was heavy with the scent of resin and the weight of unspoken tension. Xandar stood beside her, his antennae twitching nervously as the eldest of the Yilbrick, known as Zilvanek, addressed them. Her voice was a complex symphony of tones, translated into human language by the small device on Elara's wrist. "You speak of intervention," Zilvanek said, her multifaceted eyes locking onto Elara's. "You wish to heal the THYSSK. Yet, for millennia, we have lived by the creed that the THYSSK is a being beyond our understanding. Its suffering, as you call it, is the will of the planet." Elara took a deep breath. "Elder Zilvanek, I understand your people's reverence for the THYSSK. But my scans show that its injury is not natural. The abscess is likely the result of an embedded foreign object. This isn't nature at work, it's an anomaly, one that your guardian shouldn't have to endure." The chamber filled with a soft hum as the elders whispered among themselves, their tones weaving together in a melody that expressed both doubt and curiosity. Finally, another elder, YRK Talon, spoke up. "The THYSSK has survived for centuries without interference. Who are we to decide its fate now?" Elara's hands tightened into fists. She knew she had to tread carefully. The Yilbrick's deep-seated traditions were their identity, and outright challenging them could close the door to any chance of cooperation. She softened her tone, meeting YRK Talon's gaze with calm determination. "I'm not suggesting that we replace your traditions with mine," Elara said. "I'm asking you to consider this. If the THYSSK truly is the guardian of your world, doesn't it deserve your care? What kind of guardians would we be if we let those we revere suffer needlessly?" Zilvanek tilted her head, her antennae swaying in thought. The younger Yilbrick present, including Xandar, clicked their mandibles softly in a show of agreement. But the elder's hesitation was palpable. "You claim you can heal the THYSSK," Zilvanek said. "What if you fail? What if your actions harm the creature further? The blame would fall not only on you but on us for allowing it." Elara stood then, her voice firm. "I won't fail. I've spent my life studying alien biology. I've treated creatures far more complex than anything humans had ever imagined. But if you want proof, let me examine the THYSSK further. Let me show you exactly what's wrong and how I can fix it. If you're still against intervention, I'll abide by your decision." The chamber fell silent. Zilvanek's gaze swept over her fellow elders, gauging their opinions. After what felt like an eternity, she inclined her head. "Very well, human medic. You will have one chance to make your case. If your findings are convincing, we may reconsider." Elara exhaled a sigh of relief, gratitude washing over her. She had won the first battle, but she knew the hardest part was yet to come. Later that evening, back at the outpost, Elara prepared for her next move. She gathered an arsenal of medical equipment, portable bioscanners, sterile instruments, and a batch of experimental antibiotics specifically designed for alien physiology. The magnitude of the task ahead weighed heavily on her, but there was no time for doubt. As she packed, Xandar entered, his mandibles clicking softly. "You are brave, Elara," he said. "The elders do not easily bend. Yet I fear they may still turn against you if you fail to convince them." Elara glanced up from her kit, meeting Xandar's gaze. "I'm not doing this for approval or recognition. I'm doing it because no creature should suffer like that, not when I can help." Xandar was silent for a moment, his antennae lowering slightly. "You remind me of the young Yilbrick who first sought peace with humans. Many doubted them, too. Yet, here we stand, working together. Elara smiled faintly. Then let's make history again, Zandar. Together. The next morning, the team returned to the valley. The THYSSK remained where they had left it, its breathing shallow but steady. The massive creature stirred slightly as Elara approached, its luminescent fur shimmering faintly in the early light. This is it, Elara murmured to herself, her heart pounding. With Zandar's help, she activated the scanner and began to gather data. What she found both fascinated and horrified her. Embedded deep in the THYSSK's swollen foot was a fragment of metallic alloy, a piece of alien technology, possibly from a long-forgotten spacecraft crash. This wasn't nature, Elara said, her voice trembling with a mix of anger and determination. This was caused by negligence by whoever left this behind. Zandar's antennae twitched. The elders must see this, he said. This is not the will of the planet. Elara nodded, her resolve hardening. She had the evidence she needed. Now, it was time to face the council once more and prove that saving the THYSSK wasn't just an act of compassion, it was a responsibility. The valley was alive with a surreal energy as the Yulgrid Council gathered around the THYSSK, their luminous forms casting soft, dancing light across the creature's massive frame. The air was thick with anticipation and tension. Elara stood at the forefront, her medkit spread out before her like an arsenal of hope. Beside her, Zandar radiated quiet determination. The THYSSK stirred weakly, letting out a low, resonant sound that seemed to echo both pain and trust. It was as though the creature understood that help had finally arrived. Zilvanek stepped forward, her multitonal voice carrying the weight of authority. Human medic, the council has deliberated. You have shown us the truth of this injury. The fragment is not a natural wound. It is an artifact of another time, perhaps another world. We grant you permission to proceed. Elara's shoulders eased slightly, but her focus remained razor-sharp. Thank you, Elder Zilvanek. I'll do everything in my power to ensure the THYSSK's safety. She turned to Zandar and her small team, comprised of a few human medics and younger Yulgrik who had volunteered to assist. Let's get started. The first step was sedation. Administering a sedative to a creature of the THYSSK's size required precise calculations and a deep understanding of its alien physiology. Elara used a bioinjector loaded with a mixture she had formulated specifically for this procedure, combining human anesthetics with compounds derived from the bioluminescent plants of Thessalia 4. The THYSSK's great body stilled, its breathing slowing to a deep, rhythmic pattern. The Yulgrik onlookers watched in silence, their multifaceted eyes glinting with a mix of awe and trepidation. Elara crouched by the abscessed foot, her scanner mapping the intricate web of tissue and infection. The metallic fragment was deeply embedded, surrounded by necrotic tissue and a complex network of veins that pulsed faintly with bioluminescent blood. This is worse than I thought, she murmured, glancing at Zandar. The infection spread is extensive, and the fragment is dangerously close to a major artery. Removing it will require precision. Zandar clicked his mandibles in acknowledgement. You have the precision, Elara. We trust you. Using a sterile scalpel and a set of microsurgical tools, Elara began the delicate process of excising the abscess tissue. Every movement was deliberate, her hand steady despite the enormity of the task. Her team worked in tandem, suctioning away fluids and applying antiseptic compounds to prevent further infection. After what felt like hours, she reached the fragment. It was a jagged piece of metallic alloy, glinting faintly in the light. Elara's breath hitched. This could be centuries old, she said. Possibly from a ship that crashed long before humans even reached this planet. Carefully, she grasped the fragment with a set of forceps, slowly easing it free. The moment it was removed, the THYSSK let out a low, resonant hum that vibrated through the air. The sound wasn't one of pain, it was relief. We've got it, Elara said, holding up the fragment for all to see. The Yilgrig murmured among themselves, their voices a melodic blend of astonishment and approval. With the foreign object removed, Alara turned her attention to closing the wound and addressing the infection. She administered a specially formulated antibiotic designed to work with the HFY's unique biochemistry. Using a biogel derived from Yilgrig flora, she sealed the wound, ensuring it would heal without scarring. The procedure took the entire day, the sun setting behind the distant hills as Alara and her team completed their work. Exhausted but exhilarated, Alara stepped back, wiping sweat from her brow. The HFY's breathing was steady, its immense body visibly more at ease. "We've done all we can," she said, turning to Zilvanak and the other elders. "Now, it's up to the HFY's to heal." The Yilgrig elders approached cautiously, their glowing forms casting long shadows over the slumbering HFY's. Zilvanak regarded Alara with an expression that, despite the alien visage, seemed almost reverent. "You have done what no Yilgrig would have dared," the elder said. "Not out of defiance, but out of compassion. The HFY's hums with gratitude. We can feel it." Alara's exhaustion melted into a wave of relief. "Thank you, Elder Zilvanak. I couldn't have done this without Zandar and the rest of your people." The younger Yilgrig, emboldened by the success, clicked their mandibles in a show of unity. Zandar stepped forward, his antennae high with pride. "You've shown us that even our oldest traditions can evolve, Alara. The HFY's deserves our care, not our neglect." As night fell, the valley glowed softly with bioluminescent light. The Yilgrig gathered around the HFY's in a silent vigil. Alara stood to the side, her gaze fixed on the creature she had fought so hard to save. Its recovery wasn't guaranteed, but for the first time in centuries, the HFY's had a chance. And that, she thought, was worth everything. The valley was alive with quiet anticipation as the first rays of dawn touched the Thessalia 4. The HFY's stirred gently in its bed of soft moss, its massive body now free of the infection that had plagued it for centuries. The Yilgrig stood in a circle around their ancient guardian, their bioluminescent forms casting a soft, reverent glow. Dr. Alara Miles watched from a short distance away, her heart swelling with cautious optimism. It had been 3 days since the procedure. The HFY's recovery had been slow but steady. Its breathing had deepened, its movements had grown stronger, and its low, resonant hum had returned, filling the valley with a sound that seemed to vibrate with life itself. Zilvanak approached, her multifaceted eyes fixed on the slumbering HFY's. "The creature lives," the elder said softly, her tone heavy with wonder. "You have done what we thought impossible." Alara smiled faintly. "It wasn't just me. It was a team effort. And I believe the HFY's wanted to survive. It just needed a little help." Zilvanak regarded her for a long moment before speaking. "Your actions have shown us that compassion is not a betrayal of tradition. Perhaps it is an evolution of it." As the morning progressed, the HFY's began to rouse. The massive creature shifted its weight, testing its newly healed foot. A deep, rumbling sound escaped its throat, not a cry of pain, but a note of relief. It rose slowly, towering over the gathered Yilgrig and humans, its luminous furs shimmering in the sunlight. The Yilgrig onlookers began to hum in unison, a melodic chorus that resonated with the HFY's own vibrations. It was a moment of connection, a blending of ancient tradition with the new hope forged by Alara's intervention. Zandar stood beside Alara, his antennae quivering with excitement. The HFY's rises again. The elders have not seen this in our lifetimes or even their parents' lifetimes. Alara nodded, her throat tight with emotion. "It's stronger than I imagined. And more resilient than any of us gave it credit for." The HFY's took its first steps, its massive, heeled foot pressing into the mossy ground with a weight that seemed to echo through the valley. It walked to the edge of a nearby cliff, its two tentacle-like trunks lifting to the sky as it let out a powerful, resonant call. The sound rippled across the landscape, a signal that the guardian of Thessalia IV had returned. The Ylgric erupted into song, their voices blending in an intricate harmony that filled the valley. Even the plants seemed to respond, their bioluminescent colors shifting and pulsing in rhythm with the music. Elara watched in awe. "This is incredible," she whispered. "It's like the planet itself is celebrating." Zielvanek approached her once more, her voice filled with newfound respect. "You have done more than heal the THYSSK, human medic. You have reminded us of our responsibility not just to our guardian, but to one another. We have neglected what matters most for too long." Elara turned to the elder, her gaze steady. "It was never about proving anyone wrong or changing your traditions. It was about doing what was right for a living being. The THYSSK deserved your care, just as much as you deserve its protection." Zielvanek inclined her head. "Perhaps your kind and ours are not so different after all." The following days were filled with celebration. The Ylgric held a grand festival, inviting the human outpost to join them in honoring the THYSSK's recovery. The valley was transformed into a scene of unity, with humans and Ylgric working side by side to create intricate decorations, prepare alien feasts, and share stories of their cultures. Elara was honored as a guest of distinction, presented with a Ylgric artifact, crystalline pendant that glowed faintly with the same bioluminescent energy as the plants of Thessalia IV. "A symbol of our gratitude," Zielvanek said, "and of the bond between our peoples." As the festival reached its peak, the THYSSK made a rare appearance, towering above the gathered crowd. It let out a low, resonant hum that seemed to vibrate through the hearts of everyone present. For the first time in centuries, the guardian of Thessalia IV was no longer a symbol of neglect, but one of hope and renewal. In the days that followed, Elara prepared to return to her duties at the outpost, her heart heavy with the knowledge that her time in the valley was ending. Zandar accompanied her as she packed, his antennae drooping slightly. "You will leave soon," he said, his tone tinged with sadness. Elara nodded. "I'll still be on Thessalia IV, just at the outpost. And I'll come back to check on the THYSSK whenever I can." Zandar brightened slightly. "You are always welcome here, Elara. The elders have decided to establish a new tradition to care for the THYSSK as you have taught us. It will no longer be left to suffer in isolation." Elara smiled, warmth flooding her chest. "That's all I could have hoped for." As she left the valley, the THYSSK stood on the cliff once more, its great form silhouetted against the setting sun. It let out another powerful call, a sound that carried not just across the valley, but across the hearts and minds of everyone who had witnessed its revival. Elara paused, looking back one last time. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that she had made a difference not just for the THYSSK, but for an entire world. Harmony had been restored, and it was a reminder that compassion, courage, and the willingness to listen could overcome even the most ancient divides.